We're all very excited to be live in the middle of Josh's posing, but I'm very excited. Patrick was talking about things that were interesting. Other things were happening, but we're here with another show. Many things are going on, many big things. Scott Fishbowl, a lot of things. How are you guys doing?
Good, man.
I'm so cracking up what Ryan said right before we went live. I don't know. It caught me by surprise a little bit. He's like, hold on.
Yeah, I think people are very interested in your tank top that you're wearing.
It's a good tank top. Where the data tells me the data goes, and the data tells me when the guns are out, the views are up. Just saying.
That's what it's all about.
Ryan, the data tells me that when every person I add to the show reduces the views. Other than that. So that's what the data tells me. So if that's the case, I should just do the show naked, and then there'd be more views.
Now we're on to something.
Yeah, we're on to something. I thank everyone who got questions in advance. That always really helps me. It helps us get off to kind of a smooth start. And I also have had a lot to say about the Scott Fishbowl. I'm very excited that I was, for some reason, invited back. No, not that I shouldn't be. I mean, I've made the playoffs all 3 years. Semifinals in 2020 in my first year. And then I definitely, last year, I think I made it to the third round, maybe? Third, fourth round. I was looking to see how you could see that, but I couldn't find how to see past results. But I definitely made it a good run. All right. News. This is, I think, top of the list of any news. But before we get into this, we'll start with this. I want to remind everyone, if you're here, make sure to like the video. Leave a comment live if it's in the chat now. Or if it's after, leave a comment below the video. That helps the algorithm a lot. Subscribing also. Please subscribe to the channel. We need 148 more subscribers to get to 2,000. And I'd love to do that before the start of the NFL season. Given how slow it's been, that's seeming like a remote possibility. But I believe in the people to deliver that. And then hit the notifications bell, and you'll see all of my content. It's pretty much all been solo. There's a lot of it. It's all been solo. Ask Tyler was done yesterday. It was very good. It's the most views I've had on a solo video, other than the breaking news ones, ever. So it's been the best one I've done, other than something like breaking news that I've ever done. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I've heard a lot of positive feedback about those videos, especially now that I've cut them down to around 9 minutes from what they were previously. So I've heard good things about those. So those are going to continue. And then there will be some other solo content. I've been doing a lot of shorts. I had one go over 1,000 views. So I thank everyone who's watched those and everyone who's subscribed from the shorts feed. If you're here, welcome. If this is your first time, welcome to the show. So let's start with this. This was the big news of the day. Yes, the news of the day. How much does today's Kamara news affect him in your Dynasty rankings?
Sorry.
What was that?
It's the Chiefs aholic. He was called after fleeing a bank robbery.
All right, well, tell us. What's your take then on the Kamara situation?
I mean, let's be honest. Not that much has really changed. Like we knew this was going to be kind of part of the process. What has came out? He pled no contest to the charges against him. So
instead of a felony.
Exactly. So my belief is he's probably still going to get suspended, and I think it's going to be this season. If I had to guess, I'll say 4 games.
Yeah, I don't know that it necessarily changes the amount of suspension the NFL will give based off of the assault, whether he pleaded no contest and got the misdemeanor versus a felony. But I think you're still gonna see some suspension time for Alvin Kamara this year. I think it just gives us a little bit more clarity as to when it'll happen, since I think now it'll be earlier in the season rather than later, with the legal actions kind of taking place and us getting some clarity there.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, the felony charges were dropped, so I do think that takes. What the hell is that? Takes us into.
Microwave. I've heard microwaves before. I know what that is.
Yeah. So I do think that the news today takes some of the more severe discipline, which I never was really in on, but some of the more severe possibilities kind of off the table. I think we'll be looking at a maximum of 6 games.
Yep.
Probably 4, if I had to guess. I do think it won't be 0. There were charges, so even if it's a misdemeanor, it's still charges. So I don't think.
And there's a video. That's
the video.
like,
there's charges. It's not going to be 0. I do think the legal situation is resolved, so there's no reason why there won't be a suspension and why there won't happen before the season. It's going to happen. It's going to be right now. I would say, somewhere between 2 and 6 games. So I'd go in the middle and say 4. Would be what I would.
Perfect.
I would expect 4 games.
I'll add to that and say, not to the suspension by any means, because I think that the suspension's right on the money there. It's going to be pretty cut and dry. But I think it doesn't affect his dynasty rankings. So I think we all kind of suspected a 4 to 6 game suspension before, and it's been baked into his value all off season long.
Oh, I think his dynasty value is going to go up, not down.
Exactly that. I think.
Yeah, I think this is on the lower end.
The chances of a long-term issue is gone.
That's out of the question.
I think the bigger issue is still just Alvin Kamara is getting up there in age. He's got a 3-headed backfield potentially with the addition of Kendre Miller and
Kendre Miller's on the cover of this show sheet. He was put on there before this news dropped. I put him there because when Alvin Kamara is actually suspended and we hear that Kendre Miller is actually going to get a chance, his dynasty value is going to go up before the NFL season. Even if maybe it shouldn't, it will. I'm not sure it should, but it will.
Just what Pat's saying, like this is baked into Kendre Miller's value too, right? Yeah.
You see, it's funny. Alvin Kamara actually being suspended is not baked into Kendre Miller's value. Kendre Miller's value, in my opinion, is too low. It's not baked in when it should be.
I think
he was a first-round pick there for a period of time, you know?
Yeah, but in startup rankings now that we're settled, he's going 98th overall in 1 QB. That's way too late. That's way too late. I mean, we're talking about a running back who's drafted on day 2 as a prospect we like. We shouldn't be going that late. You know, someone who has a path to a starting job in the near future, someone who was very talented in college. Just too late for someone of his profile, in my opinion. With an aging starter in front of him, it's a little different if you get stuck behind someone. But yeah, our RB33 in Dynasty is just too low. It's too low. So it was not baked in, is what I'm saying. I see he should be. I have him at 80. I'm 18 spots higher. I didn't move him based on this news, but I had him 18 spots higher than his ADP. So I would say it's not.
So here's something interesting. I was just doing a quick search on the NFL personal conduct policy, and depending on the nature of the violation and the person's record, violations involving assault, battery, domestic violence, or any type of sexual assault will result in a baseline 6-game suspension without pay, with more if aggravating factors are present, such as weapon, crime against the child. Second offense will result in a ban from the NFL.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We know that the NFL is inconsistent in their enforcement. I mean, I think it's possible. I don't think it's going to be above 6 games. We don't know how they're going to classify it or any of the rules. But yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, it's possible there could be no suspension at all. They could decide it doesn't violate the policy. I mean, they're well within their right to do that. I mean, there's a lot of leeway in that policy. It was written vaguely on purpose, so they wouldn't.
The video kills him.
The video is bad.
Kills him. It kills him.
Yeah, that's why I think it's going to be something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a PR play.
The reason I say
they have to suspend him because of PR.
The reason I say it might be 4 and not 6 or more is because if you could settle. They could settle and get him to accept it. If they get him to, it's not like the steroid policy. The steroid policy is cut and dry. It is what it is. If it was there, the test is there. The penalty is what it is. There's no leeway. There's no challenging the steroid policy. Whereas he could challenge the suspension, and then it could take a long time. But if you offer him, let's say, okay, it would be 6 games, but if you accept it, if you accept the suspension, we'll reduce it to 4 games. If you accept it, if you don't agree not to fight it, we'll make it 4 games. That's kind of why I say 4 games. Because there is just like pleading guilty in a criminal case, accepting the guilt and accepting the punishment often leads to a reduced punishment. So I think that's why I say 4 games as the most likely.
Do you think there's a possibility that they make him do community service as like a elevator, like bellhop for like 2 weeks?
I mean, I don't know, man. I think that, he will have to do community service. That is a part of it.
Oh, absolutely will.
But we'll have to see. I would say I don't know. We'll see about the suspension. I think the news will come out pretty soon. I don't really see the reason for delay. The only thing is that the suspension could get delayed if it's long and he decides to fight it. Then the suspension is usually put on hold until the case is done, which can take a long time. The appeal can take a long period of time. You saw how long the Watson appeal took. I mean, there was appeals and appeals. It took a very long time. So that's why I think there's incumbent on the NFL would be better if he just accepted it. So if you could get him to accept guaranteeing 4 games, just get it over with, not have to talk about it anymore, not have the bad PR stretch, might be better than trying to fight for 6 games, if from their perspective. But the answer to the dynasty questions is none. I actually moved them up a spot, but essentially none. The more interesting thing for Kamara's dynasty rank that went under the radar is that the Saints restructured his contract to essentially make themselves stuck with him for 2024. That's the thing that went under the radar. But no one's talking about that. All right. I feel like I've heard a zillion versions of this question from the same person. But would you trade DK, Kamara, and 206 for Brees? I would say no. I would say no. I think Brees Hall's value is dropping. So every time I'm asked this question, I'm leaning more and more toward no over yes. Brees Hall's value has not risen since the first time this question was asked.
Does the lack of depth of his running backs change that at all for you, or no?
No. No, it doesn't. It doesn't change anything for me. I don't want to pay for Brees now when there's a lot of things that could happen that could reduce the price later.
Dalvin Cook?
Why pay for him now? So the answer is no.
I feel like Akers is a salvageable RB2 there. I liked him. I added him to the show sheet as someone that I thought would be a dynasty riser as we get closer and closer to the season, and people realize there is no one in LA to run the ball besides Cam Akers.
DK Metcalf, speaking of him, just picked in Scott Fishbowl at 509. I'll
right where he went in mine, right about.
Yeah. I had so my team through 5 rounds, just to change the subject. I have started with Joe Burrow, the 106. I think quarterbacks are very strong in this format, so decided to do that. Then Jonathan Taylor at 207. Honestly, I didn't think that was all that great. It was fine. Devontae Adams at 307. Again, not a lot of value was there. Then 2 other picks after that I was a little happier with. Jalen Waddle at 406. I was pretty happy with that. That I felt that was a pretty good value. And then T. Higgins at 507 to stack with Joe Burrow. You need kind of stacks to win in the playoff rounds of Scott Fishbowl. And I thought 507 for T. Higgins, that was my favorite pick of the 5. I thought that was a value that was about 8 or 9 spots below his ADP. So that one I was really happy with. But I feel like my division's been tougher this year. I have not gotten the same values that I've gotten in the past. I'll be honest, I feel like I kind of steamrolled the draft last year. I don't remember who was in my division, but I'll just say that
What division are you in?
What division am I in this year? Krusty Krab. The Krusty
Krab division.
Nice.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah, and I do feel like it's been a stronger division. Last year, there were a lot of strange picks in my division that I was like, oh, okay, I'll take the value, I guess. Not this year. This year, there's been like two picks in 5 rounds. I've been like, oh, that made no sense. 2. That's not very many.
It feels like my draft's been very chalky this year.
Yeah, well, some people's have not. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of drafts where there's been a lot of great value. It's just sometimes you're in a stronger division, sometimes you're not. For terms of people that people might know in my division, there actually aren't that many. Probably no one in my division that this audience would be too familiar with. Maybe Jeff from DLF, but I don't know how familiar my audience would be with him because he mostly works behind the scenes at DLF. Other than that, Adam Azer, maybe. I don't know how familiar people are with him.
Yeah, Adam Azer. Yeah.
Is he like a celebrity? I wasn't familiar with him.
He sounds pretty. I mean, he seems pretty big to me, but
I just personally didn't. I was not familiar with him really. Before.
I used to listen to the CBS podcast. That's actually like
I never listened to CBS.
I listened to kind of like
no. For me, it was always the Fantasy Pros and the Fantasy Footballers were really the two podcasts I listened to start with. And then I kind of brought in a lot of the smaller ones. DLF, as I started to get into Dynasty, was the first Dynasty one. Trade Addicts was always a favorite. I've listened to that for many years. CBS just never really, honestly, I've never even tried it. I don't know. I don't know if it's good.
I got another person. One of the person from the CBS podcast is in my Scott Fishbowl, Dave Richards.
Okay, Dave Richard, I've heard.
Everyone, yeah, people know.
Dave Richard, I've obviously heard of.
Yeah.
I used to use his rankings when I was just getting started out. He had rest of season rankings. I think in like 2018, I remember
Rest
reading
of season
some of his
rankings are clutch.
I know, but I remember reading his articles back in the day. So he was someone I remember from early on. But yeah, no one else in my division I think people would recognize. But I'm noticing that it is a tough crowd. But I'm hoping that T. Higgins at 507 is a good start. I need to get some running backs, though, and a tight end would be nice. So this was another piece of news. It didn't make it onto the show sheet, but it's a piece of news I thought was interesting. What is your take on the Rams trying to trade away Stafford? Honestly, my take is a little skeptical because I'm always skeptical of these things. Well, this team was trying to trade away.
They were trying very hard.
They were trying very hard to
Very
trade
hard.
away this person.
Was that
We don't
Lombardi
know.
that was saying that?
Yeah, we don't know that.
Lee Lombardi.
Mike Lombardi.
Does it change anything for anyone? Because for me,
I know what you're talking about.
I'm not really. I don't know. I mean, what else is there to say?
There's stuff you could say, right? So
Is there though?
the
I mean, we
Rams
don't know.
look like they're going to be a Super Bowl contending team necessarily.
Yeah, but I
And
could
they're
have told you
paying
that
this guy
before the
a
news.
ton of money, and they're trying to find ways to get out from it. And it was before they had to play the option, right? The team option or the player option.
Yeah, this is not news to
trying to
me
get
though.
out
I don't. I think everyone feels that they were trying to get rid of Stafford.
But now they're locked in. Now they're locked in for this year.
well, yeah,
and
they locked
2024.
in. They were locked in on March 17th. This is not.
Yeah. So exactly.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really change much. Maybe if we were talking about this more around March 17th or, a little bit before that, we'd be like, oh, maybe they could get something done. But now they're locked in. So
I mean,
feel like I
Matthew
remember
Stafford's
this earlier.
contract is. Yeah, so do I. I remember hearing about this many times.
Like, I don't feel like this is news. It's
That's kind of
someone,
what I'm saying, is that
someone
this
found
is
an
not
old blog
news.
post and was like, "Oh, let's bring this back up." And
That's
it's like,
I actually think that is exactly what happened, because I feel like I remember reading this months ago.
Michael Lombardi went on the Pat McAfee show and discussed it.
That's
3
exactly
It's
days
what
not
ago.
happened.
news though.
And that's what
exactly
happened.
what happened.
That
Yeah.
that fueled the
Yeah.
fire.
But if you were paying attention, you heard about this 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And
but that was when they were doing the full fire sale.
It's July. That's all
Well-
it is. Pat McAfee's pulling it. It's old news, I think.
So the Rams
They're
are
recycled.
stuck with Matthew Stafford. I mean, they owe him $91 million in dead cap next year, and if they don't get out of that, then 10 more million of his 2025 salary guarantees. So they'll be 52 under in 2025. So they're screwed. I mean, they're stuck with him for 3 years unless he retires. This is another thing. I mean, I have, Matthew Stafford, I didn't put on this show sheet, but he was on the Ask Tyler I did yesterday, or released yesterday. He was an answer to one of the questions there. Someone was asking about, are there any old guys that you like at their value? And I did mention Matthew Stafford as a potential guy I would not mind, because I feel like some people are valuing him as if he's retired already. He's retired. He has no value. And I would say that that's not the case. I mean, unless he's going to earn all this money to not play football, he really wasn't that bad. The only problem is injury. So I would say, if you can get him for a third, I would. And I've seen it happen before in a super flex.
Where do you take him in Scott Fishbowl right now?
Well, the thing is, in Scott Fishbowl is a different situation. Totally different. Because in Scott Fishbowl, it's not Dynasty, and the rosters are thinner. So the possibility of getting a quarterback on waivers is greater. And the value of middling quarterbacks, because there's no negative scoring this year, a big change in scoring, no negative scoring. The value of quarterback 18 is like nothing. It's like nothing. It's very minimal. So low. low. There's a group of quarterbacks that I say have value. And he is the top of my list of the group that I would say does not. There are 19 quarterbacks I have written down as having value, with Derek Carr being the last. Matthew Stafford I have at 20, but he's in a part of a totally different group. A group that I would not take in the first 6 rounds at a minimum. In the 7th round, I would consider Matthew Stafford.
I'm glad you said that because I was getting ready to fight a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. What you're saying makes a little bit more sense. I think maybe taking a shot at him in the 6 can make sense because if he does return to form, if he plays, just almost as good as he did 2 years ago, he doesn't even have to play that well. He's going to have a ton of value. He's the number 5 quarterback in fantasy.
Yeah, the problem is that the majority of the range of outcomes is not on him doing that well. And then on top of that, players available in his range, I don't know. I mean, Drake London is going behind him. I would rather take the upside of Terry McLaurin is behind him if you want something a little safer. Damian Pierce and Miles Sanders, running back is tough in Scott Fishbowl. I would probably running backs, those high carry running backs. If you're
trying to win Scott Fishbowl, though, Stafford might be the guy that could do that. It could set you.
Well, I would almost argue
everything does go well.
Well, the problem is if you're trying to win Scott Fishbowl, I would almost argue a lot of the guys I listed have more value. I mean, the high carry running backs are how you're going to win if you get them. Those are the ones that provide the difference. Whereas
you didn't list the high carry running back.
I mean, Miles Sanders had 250 carries last year.
Oh, okay.
That would be a high value.
Right. And you think he's going to get 250 again?
It's not the carries that I see as the problem. It's the offense.
I just know you don't like Miles Sanders that much. Yeah.
Damian Pierce also had a high carry count last year. And he could absolutely do that again.
Yeah.
Cam Akers is behind Matthew Stafford, who we talked about a little earlier. I think someone else who has a high carry upside. And then there's other players going behind him. Christian Watson, who's going way behind him, I think has more league winning upside. Matthew Stafford, to me, I don't see quarterback 5 as a possibility. The weapons and offensive line have been decimated since that quarterback 5 season. So I think Matthew Stafford's ceiling is like quarterback 13 or 14. And the replacement level in Scott Fishbowl is just low.
I understand offensive line, but the weapons, like Robert Woods you're talking about, I guess.
Yeah, well, Robert Woods is Robert Woods of 2021 was still very good.
Yeah.
And now they have Van
Jefferson and OBJ and
Puka Nacua.
Yeah, OBJ, he wasn't really.
I mean, yeah, but everyone has degraded. I mean, we're talking about Tyler Higbee of 2 years later. The running back situation has not been improved. The offensive line has gone from one of the best to one of the worst. It's not good.
Offensive line,
if
definitely.
Anything happens to Cooper Kupp,
that's also another danger is that there's nothing left after that. Yeah. When you have only one weapon and you're so dependent on him, an injury is like devastating.
I mean, Matthew Stafford went at the end of the 4th round in mind.
Well, that's insane. Yeah. There's no upside there. There's no
at the end of the 4th, like Matthew Stafford.
No, there's no upside there.
I'm not about that. I'm with you there.
Yeah, 67 overall is a little bit high for me. I would have him more at 77. 77, middle of the 7th. A little better. I think Stafford could be one of those. I just think you could spot start quarterbacks. If it really goes wrong, I mean, Stafford could be like in the 20s throughout the year. I just don't. In Scott Fishbowl, I feel like the upside is hitting on tight end because that's tough. There aren't that many good ones, and high carry running backs are the upside as well. That's the other one.
That's why I took Kelsey 1-3 and just letting it ride.
I'm a little worried about my team. I mean, I started with 3 wide receivers. If I could do it over, and I knew that Waddle and Higgins would be there at 4 and 5, which I did not expect. I wouldn't have taken Adams at 307. I would have taken maybe Pollard. I was really hoping for Derrick Henry, but he went one spot before me.
I'll have to ask Pro Football Doc, who's in my division, about Stafford's elbow. That's what I'll have to do.
It's another concern for me. I'm not going to lie.
I'm more concerned about the back.
I'm just concerned about everything. Everything. There's so many concerns.
I mean, there's doctors that are telling him he probably shouldn't ever play football again after his last injury.
I just like
he's had multiple major back injuries.
Yeah, I
You
worry,
don't hold up
but
to that.
if he wants to keep playing, he's going to keep playing because he has so many dollars of reasons not to continue.
Or he could be like, I'm playing. Oh, my back. Oh, it hurts.
Yeah.
I gotta sit down.
He's played through a time when he was in Detroit, and I'm actually concerned that he could take one shot to the back of the blind side and be different level than Tua was last year, but just he crumples and you're stretching him off the field because his back's done.
Or it's not even stretching off the field, but it's the Carson Wentz thing of like you've had so many injuries, including back, that you're just never the same of when you were at your top of your game. So there are a lot of concerns there for me.
Absolutely.
Toronto Dave.
Yeah, I love Toronto Dave.
What's up, man?
We got to get Toronto Dave on the show.
Would love to get Toronto Dave on here.
I would love that. Okay, what are your feelings on the rookie wide receivers and running backs for Dynasty? Any studs? JSN, Addison, QJ, one tier, A-Chain, or Kendra Miller, Sharp, or Roshan. Of the guys listed, I mean, JSN is the only really great one. I have some concerns about Jordan Addison. I would like to see him actually participate in something, which he hasn't done. That's not good. But I don't think it's a big deal long term. Justin Jefferson also had struggled to kind of get in at Vikings camp, and if you faded him because of that, I would have a problem. My problem would be not at 1 or 2 games, but if we get 6 games and he's still not really involved, 7, 8 games, then he's not really getting involved. It takes even Breece Hall. It took a game or 2. There was a game or 2 that was not so good, and then it started to tick up. Don't write someone off after 1 or 2 games, but usually, yeah, right around 6 games is when I'm like, I want to see a first-round rookie or a high-profile running back like Breece Hall, a good wide receiver like Addison or Quentin Johnston should be getting involved by that mark. If they're healthy and they're not, it's very concerning. It should happen.
Do you put JSN at a tier above those other 2?
Absolutely, yeah. JSN is so much better than the other. JSN, I think, is going to contribute right away.
Quentin Johnston is an interesting one to me. I think I didn't love the prospect profile coming out. I think the route tree definitely needs a little bit of refinement. I think with him, though, he does fit in that good offense with Kellen Moore over there now. He gets vertical. I think that's going to be one of the strong points of Justin Herbert's game. And I think the yak is a big one for me. So there's times where I flip-flop those guys, and I'm like, do I like QJ better than Addison? So, but I don't think either of those guys are in the same tier as JSN. The running back questions get interesting, though, from that.
Yeah, the running backs are interesting. I still have A-Chain the highest, then Charbonnet, and then Miller, and then Roshan a lot lower. Roshan is not good. I don't understand. It's one of the things where I don't understand. I mean, there's nothing. I written multiple articles about Roshan Johnson, so I had many times to look, and I never saw it. Nothing. There's nothing there. It's honestly the narrative. Oh, he was behind Bijan Robinson. Maybe if he had gotten an opportunity, he would have been better, but that's it. Why not focus on the guys who were actually better? I don't get it. It's a classic trap. This is your Kenneth Dixon. This is your Samaje Perine of old and his original stint on Washington.
Remember him?
Yeah, this is your Justice Hill, same team. Your Anthony McFailure, Benny Snail. This happened time and Michael Carter. He actually did do something with his opportunity, though. I'm talking about 4th-round picks who were bad. They're bad prospects. And then did nothing. Nothing at all. They had an opportunity that was available and never played. They never played. They never did anything. Joe Williams of 49ers fame. Remember? He was cut.
Williams.
Yeah, he was cut.
That's a pull.
Right. But 4th-round picks are more often like not doing anything than they are Joshua Kelly. Plenty of opportunity, did nothing with it.
I kind of liked Joshua Kelly.
Well, he did nothing with it. I feel like I've now learned this lesson enough times to be skeptical until they do it. Once they do it, I don't mind. Then I could be a little bit ahead of the curve. Or if they're a low price guy, then I'm fine with it. But when we're being steamed up like Roshan Johnson in a 4th round draft capital when you've done nothing, I can't do that. So he's just someone that I'm totally out on.
I agree. I'd take Charbonnet above these running backs, but I agree. Like, if you want to mention Charbonnet, A-Chain, and Kendre in the same conversation, that's fine. I don't really think Roshan belongs in that same exact conversation. There's a tier there.
Like, always the telling thing is if someone had the same draft capital, the same prospect profile, and went to a different team and they wouldn't be drafted at all, basically, that's telling that there's something wrong. Whereas Zach Charbonnet went to the worst situation possible and people are still drafting him.
Yeah. Why?
I know.
Why, Seahawks? I love Zach Charbonnet, but
should I trade Lamb for Higgins, Ritter, and a first? I need a quarterback bad. Yeah, I think you can do this. This is not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I love Lamb. I have him so high on Dynasty that I'd probably pull the trigger on this.
To accept Lamb? I mean, I'm fine trading him away for this.
Oh, trading away. See, I read that wrong. I'm a big CeeDee Lamb fan, so I'd probably prefer the Lamb side, but it is not bad comp with Higgins, Ritter, and first. I'd lean the Lamb side, though, just myself. I like him a lot. Now, if you need a quarterback that bad, I mean, is Ritter really your long-term Dynasty answer at quarterback? I don't know.
I don't think so.
He has Kyler and Fields. He says that in a later comment as his current quarterbacks. I'd almost be okay keeping.
You're thinking long term. Kyler and Fields are fine. Why get rid of Lamb?
I'm thinking there, but also I'm thinking if I make this trade, I downgrade from Lamb to Higgins. What can I go get with Ritter in that first? Because I don't want to have Ritter as that super flex quarterback, my QB2.
So I'd have to trade Ritter.
So I'm taking Ritter in that first that I'm getting for Lamb, and I'm making another trade. And I'm trying to tier up.
Let's make this simple. Let's say you could just get a second for Ritter. So based on value, which I think you can do in most leagues.
Yep.
I think Ritter's worth that at least in most leagues. I think you can get a second and third. I think you can get a first. But I think you can get a second and third in some spots. Let's say you could just get a second. So Higgins, a first and a second, or Lamb.
I still lean Lamb.
I feel like that's an overpay. I mean, Lamb is better, but that much better? It's the kind of move I almost would never make. I mean, if I'm going to trade a first and a really good player, I feel like I have to get Jefferson or Chase to do it. Otherwise, I usually just don't do stuff like that.
It's like a weird situation where I kind of agree with everything everyone said. I really like Lamb, and I think he's uber valuable, and you're going to have to overpay if you kind of want him in a lot of leagues. But I do believe the value is absolutely on the Higgins side. It's a tough one for me. It really is. It's a tough one.
Also, given the trade price I've seen for Justin Jefferson on Twitter, which is insane.
Ridiculous.
Very low. Very low.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
I have so many trades asking me, I'm not sure. I have Brandon Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy, and a 24-second. Oh, is that too much to give up? I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm serious. This is happening. I'm being inundated with these trades. I'm like, why are you asking? I mean, I'll answer the question, but what is going on here? What is wrong with people? People forget that Justin Jefferson has like the best start to a career ever.
I got an offer in my inbox.
I think it is the best.
It is,
isn't it? Yeah.
Literally. I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
I got an offer and I accepted it in the hottest of seconds for Justin Jefferson, where I traded away 1-6, 2-1, a 2024 first, and a 2025 second, and I couldn't get to the trade fast enough.
Make it a 2025 first.
So Justin Jefferson has gone from 1,400 yards to 1,616 to 1,809. He progressed from 88 receptions to 108 to 128.
The only thing that hasn't gone up is the touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's going to come around, right?
Rainbow God, I would suggest signing up for Tyler's Patreon to get a better look at your roster and taking a look at that trade.
Yes, the Patreon right here, patreon.com/fantasy advice. I appreciate that. And the other thing is, if you sign up for the Patreon, you can ask questions on the Ask Tyler videos. Here's the link to the latest These are very good. I swear. It's 9 minutes. You know, it's free if you want to watch it. It's actually me just answering questions very quickly. No bullshit like I do on this show. I like the bullshit. Believe me. That's why I do live shows. It's fun for me. But on those shows, just in and out, I'll guarantee you, I try to keep it under 10 minutes. Very short. None of that matters.
So I do think it's a trade I would rather do, and it sounds weird because CD Lamb's a piece you can rebuild around, but like I'd rather do that trade if I was a team that wasn't competing as much. I don't know. It sounds weird, right?
Yeah, it does.
But I would want to trade Ritter.
But that's okay. What about this one? He's still on my board in Scott Fishbowl. Are you in or out on DJ Moore? I believe I am at wide receiver 15 or so. He's not been taken. I don't think he'd be taken that high, but where are you guys on DJ Moore? I feel like I'm right. There are some players where I feel like the consensus has got it right. They've got it right. Najee Harris is one. DJ Moore is another. I'm like, I have him at wide receiver 19. It's like right on the consensus line. I think he'll be good. Not great. I think the consensus has it spot on. So
I'm
neither.
in on
I'm
DJ
fine. His
Moore,
ADP
I
is
think.
fair.
I like DJ Moore a lot. You guys know that I've talked about him pretty much every show. I just think the consistency of 3 straight years of 1,100 plus yards receiving at a young age, still going to the best quarterback play he's had and the most consistent, because he's had multiple quarterbacks for the last 3 years. Every year, touchdown totals have always held him back. He's going to get a high target share. I think so.
You think so? I think it's the best real life. For fantasy, I'm not sure.
It's hard to argue against it.
I feel like we've had
when you name the name.
There was a 3 weeks ago.
There was a sneak peek of the best quarterback play DJ Moore has ever had, which was Sam Darnold's beginning to 2021, when it was actually going
when he
well.
had like 6 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, but the passing volume was there. That's when it was.
No,
going
I
well.
I don't know. I even mentioned that, but
It was going well.
Yeah,
But other than that, it's tough. He's never had a high volume quarterback, and he still doesn't.
yeah.
The problem is the target share he has to get to be a wide receiver 1 is so high. I mean, you're talking 35%. That's what it's got to be. He's not going to be a wide receiver 1 without it, because the pool is so low. The pool is going to be low. I think, what's the over-under for Bears passing yards? 3,600? I mean, 3,700? So if that's what it is, if we go with the line, then you got to be 35%. And that's tough. We're talking 35% is like reserved for elite of the elite. And that just isn't DJ Moore for me. I think he'll be good, but I have him at 19, not in the wide receiver 1 range. I think he'll be good, not great.
Yeah, I don't have a wide receiver 1 range. I just think, like I said, like 2019, Kyle Allen, Cam Newton for 2 starts, Will Grier. 2020, Teddy Bridgewater, PJ Walker. 2021, Sam Darnold, Cam Newton when he was very old, PJ Walker. I mean, I like the potential upside because I think he's that talented. And I think when I look around guys that I think are just truly talented receivers that are wide receiver 1 talent level that don't get talked about because of their quarterback play. That's why I always talk about Terry McLaurin and DJ Moore. I think both of those guys are actually wide receiver 1s, not in fantasy, but in real life. DJ Moore falls into that category. So once I get into that tier where it's DJ Moore and those guys, I'll take the guy that has that skill set over other players. So I'm in on him at that ADP, but I don't think I'm taking him much higher than that ADP.
I just think the downside's higher than the upside. The downside's worse.
But has he proven he's quarterback proof? Like, he's never gone under 1,100 yards the last 3 years with awful quarterback play. So is he kind of showing he's quarterback recession proof? Yeah,
but there have been times where DJ Moore has been unusable.
Yep. Last year there were stretches.
Yep. Last year was totally unusable. And there were stretches in the other years where he was totally unusable too. So he is not DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae Adams. Those guys are actually quarterback proof. He's not that good. If disasters happen, then really bad things could happen. So or if they just run more or continue the offense they had last year. So I'm concerned. But
he's had 4 straight years as a wide receiver 2 in overall points per and overall. He's consistently there, right at wide receiver 20 off the board. Feels right. You're gonna get, as long as he's on the field, you're gonna get your wide receiver 2 anywhere from finishing wide receiver 15 to finishing wide receiver 20 to 22. You're gonna get that. You know it's a consistent shot. So if you took some risks and you needed that early in your draft and you took some high upside players that you're a little concerned about, DJ Moore is that safety net, that safe wide receiver 2 to pick up for your team.
But the funny thing is that the receivers in that tier are like the safe receiver, like Terry McLaurin's in that tier, right? Like a safe receiver. So I can see where Tyler's point is there is like, are you smashing the ADP there?
In the most optimistic universe, Terry, although the least optimistic is even worse, Terry McLaurin's range of outcomes is wider to me. There's a universe in which Sam Howell's good, and Sam Howell doesn't run that much. So if he's good, he'll have the passing volume. The target competition is, not super strong.
It's Dotson, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah,
which is more than DJ Moore has, in my opinion.
A little more.
Mooney.
A little more. That's not great.
It's similar. It's like Mooney.
It's similar.
It's similar. You're right.
Komet
and Logan
Thomas is
You're right.
something more than Logan Thomas.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much Gibson will be involved in the passing game. That's also interesting to look at. But we'll have to see. I do think there's a universe in which Terry McLaurin is very high. Whereas I don't see that for DJ Moore. But the downside on Terry McLaurin is really, really bad. Because there is also a universe in which Jahan Dotson comes in and is better. And I don't think there's any world in which DJ Moore is not the Bears' target leader if he's healthy.
If he's healthy. Yeah, assuming health, I'm very confident on DJ Moore being right, just like Pat was saying, right around 20. So yeah.
Coop says, just popped in to say thank you all for bringing joy to my life and great content to the community. Don't forget your importance to the world. Oh, I appreciate that.
Thanks, Coop.
Awesome.
Russ Wilson or Pittman? Superflex, Kyler, and Tua are my other quarterbacks. Okay. Well, honestly, I would lean towards Russell Wilson. Michael Pittman is starting to fade for me.
Superflex is what does it for me, right? Like the quarterback still has value in the superflex spot. Pittman with the rookie quarterback. I know I love Anthony Richardson too, but yeah, I'm leaning Wilson.
Pittman's tough. It's tough because it seems like the Colts don't want to keep him. The worst case scenario would be as if they keep him on the franchise tag for another, which they could easily do, and keep him for another year and have him stuck in this offense. I actually like Anthony Richardson, but Anthony Richardson is not Kyler Murray and never will be. Anthony Richardson is not the same build, but in terms of kind of the same. Anthony Richardson is like, if you want someone similar, it's like Cam Newton. And did you look at Cam Newton's passing game weapons down the stretch? We said he hurt the passing game weapons. I don't think we would say he helped them. The volume wasn't there. And nowadays, it would be there even less.
Kyler was a accurate, kind of polished quarterback coming into the NFL, and that's no one's going to say that about Anthony Richardson. Yeah.
The one who could, what we hoped, he hasn't really delivered, but not consistently, but someone who could run a lot and pass for a lot of volume. Jalen Hurts has gotten close to that, delivering double. Anthony Richardson is not that. Anthony Richardson is more similar to Cam Newton. If Anthony Richardson doesn't run and is not running, Anthony Richardson wouldn't be a starting quarterback in the NFL. He wouldn't. It's like Lamar Jackson. There's not a universe in which Lamar Jackson becomes, and Lamar Jackson was a more accomplished passer than Anthony Richardson by far.
He freaking was awesome at passing in college.
But I think we've seen that Lamar Jackson as a passer alone
set the world on fire.
Bottom half of starters.
Yeah.
He's bottom half.
Yeah.
It's not good enough.
Yeah.
So Anthony Richardson, I think, is even worse as a passer, accuracy-wise. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs to run in order to deliver fantasy value The volume is not going to be there. And for someone like Pittman, who's not elite.
And Pittman he'll be 26 this season.
He feels
he's
not
younger,
as young, I think,
know?
as people think.
He feels younger. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, he hasn't even had a season where he put it all together for great fantasy value at all. I mean, his best was 2021.
Yep.
Last year,
I like Pittman, but yeah,
pretty
without the
inefficient.
passing volume.
Imagine if Pittman got all those
He needs it.
defensive pass interference yards. He would have had like a 1,400 yard season in 2021.
Pittman, I think, is wildly overvalued in Dynasty, though. I think people see the name Michael Pittman. They have him at wide receiver 19. I think that is divorced from reality. I think wide receiver 19. I heard it on the Fantasy Footballers today. 30% of rookie quarterbacks who start the whole season support a top 36 wide receiver. Now, could Michael Pittman be in the 30%? Yes. Is he going to be above wide receiver 19? No way. I have Michael Pittman in redraft. I have him in PPR at wide receiver 29. And I really think that that's generous because I see the name Michael Pittman. I know he's good. And I'm like, I can't rank a 25-year-old wide receiver that I know is good at 40. I just can't. But there's a universe in which a healthy Michael Pittman finishes at 40. No injuries. Just that's what he delivers. He finishes at 40. That universe exists.
Let me ask you a question, Tyler, because you talked about Pittman and the Colts.
And he won't be
like
wide receiver 19 in Dynasty
if
he finishes at 40
term.
this year. That's the problem. Right. The problem is he's valued too high right now. If he were valued at wide receiver 29 in Dynasty, I might like him because I like the talent. And he's not that old. I could be in on him on a new team, or if Anthony Richardson proves me wrong or whatever. Or if Michael Pittman proves that he's elite and, is able to survive as the one weapon. Most rushing quarterbacks can support one weapon if they get everything. The problem is how much better is Michael Pittman than Alec Pierce and Josh Downs? It has to be universes different. Is it universes or is it just better? Because if it's just better, that's not enough. That's really the problem. It has to be DeAndre Hopkins versus the competition. Devontae Adams versus the competition. That's what it needs to be good enough. And I lean that it's not the case, that he's more in the tier of good rather than that group. So I would go Russell Wilson.
I don't remember the last wide receiver to be ranked going to year 4 of his pro career to be ranked that much higher in Dynasty than redraft while healthy.
Very strange. It's very strange.
It doesn't make sense.
That's an interesting point. I haven't really thought about it.
It's counter to everything else that we know.
Point.
Yeah.
There is something wrong in his valuation somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, he's either not going to finish at – he's either not going to finish at wide receiver 29 or he is misvalued at Dynasty wide receiver 19. Because I can tell you that if he finishes at wide receiver 30, he will not be wide receiver 19 next year.
The only narrative that
you're going to be counting on that new team, that something to improve, and you're counting on that, but you can't count on it this late into someone's career already. He's already 26 years old. You can't be baking it in like he's a second-year wide receiver, saying hopefully his situation improves next year.
Also,
that extra 2 years doesn't
doubt that the Colts are going to let Michael Pittman leave. They have nobody to replace him with. And what are they going to do? Just roll out what they have? I don't think they're going to let him go.
Yeah.
They have a franchise tag.
If
and a rookie quarterback, so they can certainly afford it.
If you're in my Kings Dynasty League, come send me a trade offer for Michael Pittman if you value him as a wide receiver 19. Please.
Yeah, that value is insane. It's just
I'll give you a wide receiver 25 discount. Let's go.
Is it buying that Anthony Richardson's a high elite quarterback, but not this year? That you like Pittman because you like Anthony Richardson long term, but you think Richardson's going to hit his bumps this year?
I think Anthony Richardson's ceiling is Cam Newton. He delivers what Cam Newton delivered. And Cam Newton's best season as a passer was his rookie year when he delivered 4,051 yards.
Was that his most?
Yes,
I think so.
yes, it was.
Really?
That's his high in career passing. His rookie year, 4,051 yards.
I think there's
His high in touchdowns, he had 1 year above 25. In 2015, he delivered 35 touchdowns as a passer. Every other year, his high was 24. So it can come together for a year, either on touchdowns like it did for Lamar in 2019, a high touchdown variance where the passing volume wasn't there, or it can come together at 4,000 was the best. That was the best he ever got. And that's scary if that's the ceiling, because that's what I think the ceiling is. I mean, if I told you right now, let's say I told you today, Anthony Richardson will have Cam Newton's career, and you could draft him in a rookie draft. You draft him 101.
Yeah.
If I told you that's what you were getting, you get 8 years of quarterback one production. In Superflex, that's 101. I mean, that's what you want. That would be a sweeping success. Huge success. You'd be so happy with it in fantasy. But it wouldn't have delivered for Michael Pittman. So even if he's the best case scenario, it doesn't deliver. So, yeah, totally out on that. Oh, and let's go to this. Josh Downs' outlook. It's horrible. I don't understand. I don't understand why. This is one I don't get. Why people are in on Josh Downs, I don't understand. He fell in the draft. He was the 11th wide receiver taken. The NFL took a look.
Such a good deep threat, bro.
He was the 11th wide receiver taken. The NFL took a look. They said no thank you. They said no thank you to Josh Downs. They were not interested. I mean, Jalen Hyatt went before Josh Downs. Jalen Hyatt is not going to be active for week 1 for the Giants, by the way. Just, you know how badly that's going. Cedric Tillman was taken before Josh Downs. Cedric Tillman is
I like Cedric Tillman.
I like him too, but he's nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found in camp. He's not going to be playing week 1. He's not going to be doing very much week 1. These players were taken before Josh Downs. They're not doing anything right now. Josh Downs has been injured. He has managed to participate in nothing. And if we don't like Michael Pittman, how is Josh Downs going to be good? How?
It's tied in with this
The
whole
NFL didn't
conversation
like
we
him.
just
He fell
had. If
into
we
the
don't
worst
think
situation
Anthony
possible.
Richardson can, produce
He is
passing volume, then
he's
we're
just
kind of out of
another
Josh Downs.
name recognition thing. People saw, they play Debbie, they see, oh, Josh Downs. Yes, we like him. Name, we recognize that one. We like him. Yes. No. He literally can't succeed. He can't succeed. He's someone I wouldn't draft. He's totally off my board. It's funny, actually. He was so high in rookie drafts, and now that people got their heads on and they started doing startup drafts, his value plummeted because people realized what the reality was. It's not good.
5'9", 171-pound wide receivers, just they hit so infrequently that
I'm bigger than him.
Give
I
me the
honestly think
seconds
even in my
any day.
current ranks, I have Josh Downs too high, to be honest with you.
Okay, question. Who
Yeah.
scores more fantasy points this year? Josh Downs or Ashton Doolin?
What? I mean,
Josh Downs, because Ashton
He'll
Doolin
catch it.
is not relevant.
I
Josh
think
Downs
he's
is going to
still-
catch some
he's
deep
third
balls.
down. Is he going to see the field enough? Are
I'm
they gonna
worried
get
he
him on the field
doesn't
enough?
because
Ashton
he's
Doolin?
not participating. No, Ashton Doolin's not going to see the field either. But I'm worried that Josh Downs is not really participating. That's not so good. You don't want people who are not participating. You want players to participate in things. And he's not participating. And he's not even – apparently the NFL thought he wasn't so good. I mean, if the NFL thought that Rashee Rice, who is a horrible prospect, horrible prospect, he's not good, was better than Josh Downs, something has gone very wrong, or Josh Downs isn't actually that good. And I think it's the latter.
Well, Patriots did take N'Keal Harry over the slew of amazing
I will
receivers
say
that came out of that class.
Also, Jalen Hyatt, who is a minimal so many issues with Jalen Hyatt, was taken before Josh Downs. Cedric Tillman, many problems, was taken before Josh Downs. I mean, there were so many players who had a lot of problems. And, Tank Dell, you want to talk about small. Tank Dell
I'm
was
bigger
a
than
weird
Tank
one.
Dell.
That's a
and
weird
I'm
one.
not a big guy.
Tank Dell was taken before Josh Downs. what did he do? He had one productive season and 3 were not so good, and he was taken before Josh Downs. Jaden Reed, production profile of what? It's bad. It's not so good.
At least Reed played well at the Senior Bowl against other competition.
What about the rest? What about the rest of the time?
Yeah.
Where was it the rest of the time? It wasn't so good. But he was taken way before Josh Downs. Why? There were all these bad players were taken before him. So it doesn't seem so good. I think I'll pass on Josh Downs.
If you're going to take a flyer on a guy like that, to your point, that's fallen in the draft, they better have a better physical profile than 5'9", 171. Terry McLaurin went 3rd round. There's guys that fall. I get that. 5'9", 171, nothing about it excites
If you're
me.
going to
take the
take a
second.
shot, take a shot on Rashee Rice, the one who has size, even though the production profile is terrible. Their size is there. He's in the Chiefs offense, which we know is going to throw. Maybe something good will happen. The Colts offense, we're not chasing ancillary options in the Colts offense. If we don't want the primary option in the Colts offense, why would we want the ancillary? Yeah, I've always been out on Josh Downs. In a 1 QB Dynasty League, I have Jamar Chase and Trevor Lawrence. Would you go after Burrow aggressively for the stack? Guy turned down a second. What adding?
Of course he did.
Oh, yeah. Paying a first. Hi, Ryan.
Hello.
We're talking about
Oh no,
what would you pay for Joe Burrow in a 1 QB Dynasty League?
nothing.
No, I'd pay something for him. But I probably am not in
I don't
the
play
business.
1 QB, dude.
Neither do I. But I'm probably not in the business of sending firsts
No.
for quarterbacks that are not named, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, or Jalen Hurts. I think anyone else is just I'll pass on him.
Unless it gives me the chase stack, then maybe if I get the double stack.
I'm okay.
That's what he's chasing there, though. But he's got Trevor Lawrence. So.
Oh, I'm so happy. I hope he's not. Well, I don't care if he's watching. Joe Mixon was just picked in my Scott Fishbowl league. I'm so happy.
My biggest lesson in 1 quarterback leagues that I learned this year is if you are competing, your first round pick means nothing. It is the equivalent of a mid to early 2nd round pick, and it has very little value in a 1 QB league. Go and spend it if you think that's going to make the difference. Is Joe Burrow actually worth making that spend? If it's just that pick, sure. I'll send a 25 first to add Joe Burrow. But I'd rather give up Trevor Lawrence, send Trevor Lawrence in a small piece and a wide receiver 4 to make that jump from Lawrence to Burrow in 1 QB.
Fields to DJ Moore.
Nice. My man.
If Josh is talking, I can't.
Yeah, I'm not. I was mouthing.
You were
something.
casually
I
muted.
wasn't.
Yeah.
I was just. I just felt like my mouth needed to move a little bit.
If you're trying to
what
acquire
she
depth
said.
at running back, but everyone is contending in your leagues,
That wasn't bad.
should I just go all in and hope for trades in the season or overpay? Don't overpay. I talked about this on the Ask Tyler show, which I suggest everyone watch. It's very good. I was very proud
And
of it.
honestly, I love
Don't
acquiring
overpay.
running back depth during the season more than I do prior to the season.
Or right
because-
before the season, but not now. There's
Yeah,
always like
just
3 running back
that
training camp
safety.
injuries.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a position that gets injured, and you can be in the season, and injuries can still happen during the season, but you're lessening those chances, if you holding the bag.
When I was looking at the show sheet and we were talking about Dynasty risers, players whose value is going to rise, I was looking through the running back list. Veteran running backs who are going to rise in value as they realize that these players are going to score points. We're stuck in this idea of players and who they're going to be in these projections, but at the end of the day, points is what's going to matter. Points is what wins you a championship. They win you your week. They win you weeks 15, 16, and 17 when you want to win and win your championship. Score points. James Conner is going to score you points way more than his dynasty value is at its depleted value because his redraft leverage, he will score you points. Points win. Sometimes it's not as complicated as we make it out to be.
No,
Go and get these guys. Go and get these guys before their value continues to jump up as we realize, wait, my team can actually compete. I can go and win this. I'm just one running back away, and suddenly someone else goes and buys James Conner.
Well, James Conner, I don't know if he's on my list.
He's on mine in terms of I think he's got the clear path to being the only fantasy relevant piece in that offense, and we've seen him do it.
So with James Conner, I'm a little worried that he's just washed and we don't know it. Like he's he's carry wise, age wise, he's right at that cliff, and I'm good.
Well, that's another reason why I would say wait till the season to make some of these trades, especially for the older running backs, because if we see in the season they're running pretty well, maybe their value does go up a little bit, but at the same time, there's going to be a lot of people that are contending in your league right now that, halfway through the season, a few weeks in, or, halfway through, they're like, maybe not so much. Maybe I got to start thinking about the future because everything's not looking so good. So they're more willing to make trades like that, and you can kind of take advantage of that a little bit.
Of the players to beat the age curve, I usually want to bet on the ones who are elite. So,
I think you have to bake into his price, and as anyone in this tier is, how long is this price for, or what is this? What am I paying for? What short range am I?
Here's the problem with James Conner. Players that are available in Dynasty after him. I mean, Sam Laporta is right after him. And I just think that would be a big mistake to take James Conner over. I think James Conner's not going to be relevant in 8 weeks. And Sam Laporta, I have a lot of, I think he's going to be really good as a tight end long-term. Tight ends are hard to find. And this other player, Marvin Mims is is after James Conner. I just think that's a long-term asset. Michael Myers, multiple rounds after. Can't do it.
Would you rather have James Conner or the next 2.5 years of running back 3-4 Brian Robinson? Give me 8 to 10 games of James Conner over at a RB2 level, which I think he can definitely still play at, over a Brian Robinson, over an Antonio Gibson. Some of these running backs that are going ahead of him.
Some people say that Antonio Gibson is going to be an RB1 this year.
And some people have doves that fly out of their ass. But we're not talking about the people that are delusional.
What? Do that?
Someone pushed back on me in my Scott Fishbowl chat for saying that I thought it was people who thought that Jaylen Warren was better than Najee Harris were delusional. But, I think sometimes people just don't like me.
Depends what your definition of better
sometimes
is. More efficient?
People say dumb things. And more efficient to what aspect? More
yeah,
efficient
I know.
More
Najee
efficient
Harris is better.
All right, defenses aren't worried about Jaylen Warren in the backfield. They're not as keyed in whether or not there's 7 men in the box, 6 men in the box, or 8 men in the box. It doesn't matter if that's their sole focus is stopping the running game. They're more concerned with Najee Harris in the backfield than when Jaylen Warren is. That's reality.
Yeah, Jaylen Warren also is doesn't have that volume ability that Najee Harris does.
Yep, and that point that I just made is one of the reasons why running backs don't matter in fantasy. They matter in the actual NFL because talent actually wins out, and there's a talent gap at running back, but we don't see it in fantasy in terms of actual production nearly as often.
Yeah.
That's why someone like Alexander Madison can have 4 blow-up games against some of the worst defenses in the league, and people will suddenly think he has an RB1 upside.
Alexander Madison is so tough to rank.
Someone will always draft him ahead of me. Someone will draft him ahead of me.
I'm kind of right there with you.
He's going to go off for like 18 points like week 1, and people are going to be like taking victory laps both ways. Oh, he didn't get 23. Oh, he didn't get 8. He got better than 8. It's going to be back and forth.
How do y'all feel about Tyler Higbee?
Safety, not tight end, I guess.
Worst players you could pick. In redraft, I have him at tight end 15.
Which is a lot better in PPR, I guess I will say.
Doesn't score touchdowns.
Yeah, he doesn't really get a lot of touchdowns. So if you're in a standard league, I'm not even interested in him. I mean, he's gonna get catches. How do I feel?
I'm just
about
not that
him?
excited by Tyler.
Yeah, no, definitely not excited. Excited is not the word I would use by any means.
Small range of outcomes.
Comfortable isn't even the word I would use. I don't even know the word.
That's the words I'd use. Tight end 16. That's
16.
I have him at 15, so
He's a safety net. He's not even a tight end one, but he's just a safety net for your roster. I feel comfortable having him as my second tight end in case someone else either just shits the bed or gets injured. And I'm not panicked trying to find someone to replace that tight end one.
Eagles running backs this year, buy, sell, who's their next year long-term? I wouldn't say that their long-term answer is on the roster to start with that. And in terms of buying and selling, DeAndre Swift went at 505 in my Scott Fishbowl draft. That is probably the worst. I'm sorry if you're listening.
There's
but
one weird one.
That is probably the worst pick I have seen.
Like
in a long time in Scott Fishbowl. That is bad as bad.
You said
Geno Smith went at
506?
210 in my division. That was also pretty bad. Those two are pretty bad.
I mean,
Geno Smith was awesome in Scott Fishbowl last year.
I can tell you that DeAndre Swift would have been available at he went at 505. He definitely would have been available at 705 or 705. Yeah.
I mean,
sure. Very least
he hasn't
608.
gotten picked, and we're halfway through the 6th round in mine. And
yeah, he's not going to be picked. The people were discussing in my chat about picking him in the 8th. Is it at that point? Maybe we talked about this. What would you add for Lawrence to Burrow? Nothing. Yes, it's way too much. We're not adding a 25 first to Lawrence for Burrow. I'd add almost nothing in a 1 QB. In a 1 QB, I don't care that much. Maybe a third. I'm just not.
A nice little throw in.
Yeah.
Like a Ty Chandler.
You're welcome. Caleb, if you're home, you should come on the show.
It's made. I don't care what he says.
Oh, you're saying it's fake news.
Hold on. I'm ever. Can you put down?
You gotta pull down the comment. You gotta pull down the comment.
Yeah, put down the comment. I gotta check.
Okay,
that is a made bed. That's a
it's
made bed, 100%.
Dude, it's the pillow.
All right, Tyler just pulled a
Tuck
Midwest
the pillow underneath.
I have to go. I sleep like this because I go to.
I just did a what?
So like
a Midwest ope. Ope, let me scoot right past you. Hey, you pulled a Midwestern slang word. Ope. Oh,
bruh.
Hey,
bruh.
Do you only sleep with one pillow, Ryan?
There's a second one under there.
Okay, gotcha.
It's tight.
If you tuck that pillow under the comforter, it would look a little bit more tidy.
Yeah, I know, but that's how I sleep, dude. My neck is killing me right now. It's been killing me for like Tyler knows. It's been killing me since we started doing shows.
Why is your neck killing you?
I don't know.
I can think of some interesting reasons why that.
It just does.
What?
I turn it and I'm getting old.
How old are you? You're the youngest one here. For once, actually, you're the youngest one here.
Yeah.
Say Kendra Miller 3 more times and Hutch will show up.
No, he's busy today. But I'm going to meet Hutch on Saturday.
Oh, that's
What?
sick.
Really?
I'm not drafting in it, but I'm going to the Scott Fishbowl live event in New York. I can walk
Does Hutch
there.
live in New York?
No, but for some reason he's going to be there. I'm honestly not sure why he's going to be there, but he's going to be there.
Yeah, that is interesting. That's cool. I've met him.
So if you want to meet me and tell me to go
badass.
fuck myself, you can come to that event. I don't know where it is, but I'm going to figure it out between now and then.
I need to meet more people.
Just
from
send out
fantasy
the
Twitter.
address.
Yeah.
That's what I need
Well,
to do.
I mean, it's available on Twitter. It was posted publicly. What round is Kittle going in Scott Fishbowl 13?
He went in the mid-third in mine.
So I have the ADP tool in front of me. He's currently 43rd, which would be mid-4th.
I can't.
It's too high. It's too high. It's way too high. Will he be more consistent than last year? No, he won't. I'm good on Kittle. I'll pass on him. He went at 404 in mine, so right on the ADP. I'm good on
Can't
George
do
Kittle.
that.
I'll pass on him. I don't think he's going to be any more consistent. I don't know why he would be. McCaffrey, Ayuk, and Debo are there from the start when they were all on the field. Kittle was not usable. So He had 7 touchdowns over the last 4 weeks with Brock Purdy. I don't expect that to repeat. So, no, I'm totally out.
I've continued my Scott Fishbowl tradition of, punting, running back, and wide receiver.
I have plenty of wide receivers. I'm punting tight end.
I'm only through 3 rounds, though, so, like.
Man, I'm so nervous that I have 3 wide receivers to start. I really need to get some running backs and tight end. I don't like to reach, but I more likely to do it in something like this where there's like no waivers and no trades. It is what it is. But I have some players I'm targeting. Tight end, though, I'm worried. I'm just gonna have to punt.
Tight end, I'm getting worried.
Taysom Hill, the ultimate punt.
Yeah.
Yeah, tight end's already looking pretty gross.
I've seen this. A lot of honestly, it makes me regret that I started on. I don't like how it's gone. 106. I like it a little more.
Like, what would you change? Like, what would you be targeting if you could?
I just didn't really like a lot of the value. Like a lot of the players I picked, for example. I saw plenty of teams getting. I had Burrow at 6. I saw plenty of teams getting Burrow at 8. I picked Jonathan Taylor at 207. I felt like he was kind of the start of a group of players. I saw a lot of people with Taylor in the 3rd. I had Devontae Adams at 307. I kind of felt like he was the start of a group of players for me. I saw people with Adams in the 4th. I just felt like at both 207 and 307, I picked the first player in a group of a lot of players for me.
Yeah, and I hate doing that too. I understand where you're coming from.
Not in a group by position, but just in an overall value group. I like the teams I've seen from the end.
The back later in the later picks, like 11
I've seen some like this team here. I don't really like what they did after it, but they started with Jefferson, Kupp, Dak, kind of like that. The 111 in mine started Eckler, Lawrence, Lamb, kind of like that. So, yeah, I got sniped a lot. I mean, a lot of good players picked kind of in the picks right before me. The 109 started Fields, Andrews, Tua, and then Najee at 409. I like that a lot as a start.
Najee at 409? What's up?
What up?
You're not the first person to join this show in the middle of it.
Come on, Ken.
I literally texted
Najee
you.
Went 406 in mine. Okay.
I'm
So
not even there.
Ryan, guess what?
Huh?
Conan might appear on this show at some point.
I miss that, man. I just saw his tweet that Trivia's coming back.
I miss Conan too.
I feel bad because it just it's tough because this time just never works for him. But hopefully, I've heard some rumors that this time might start to work for him again.
I love those rumors.
Yeah, I've
heard
to
make those
rumors.
true. I need to go in the
rumors.
trade block.
And I'm glad that people have been enjoying the other stuff on the channel, especially all the solo stuff. I'm so happy that people just like me. That is really making me very happy. Where were we?
Hold on. I need to ask Caleb, are you in a volcano?
You know, it's a little hot in here.
Why is it hot in there?
Me.
I would assume volcanoes are pretty hot.
Oh, it's hot because you're there.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the lava, magma.
You should see what's happening in the corner. You know, my OnlyFans like couch is right over here. So you know, we were just getting.
I feel like Josh and I are the ones that would say that.
Well, I come on the show. I gotta add it. You know.
I don't have a couch right here, so I wouldn't say that.
If anyone subscribes to Tyler's $100 tier, that's where the really juicy photos start to come.
There is no $100 tier.
Well, you need to.
Yeah,
but I'm taking donations. I'm taking donations. I'm taking donations. Maybe I should just do that. If you would like the YouTube to keep going, some people have donated. People have donated to Venmo.com/Tyler the Great. I am taking donations up to any amount. And just say that you want the YouTube channel to keep going. And I'll take donations up to thousands of dollars. Yes, I will gladly accept those donations. Please send in the donations. Time is running out. This is what they say on the shows, right, on TV. Time is running out to get this offer of nothing. I'm offering you nothing in exchange for donating. So make sure to get this exclusive offer.
That's what a
You only
donation
heard
is,
today.
kinda. I mean, it just
And if
makes you feel good by giving.
Yeah.
If you send now in the next 5 minutes,
If you donate now,
shipping
in the next 5 minutes.
shipping and handling to your YouTube feed is free.
How about this?
All you have to do is click the bell.
If you send it before the end of the show, if you send me a donation before the end of the show, I'll give you a shout out. And I might even, if you want, I'll tell you to go fuck yourself live. Because I know that turns people on. I know that people love that. So I'll make sure to do that for you live on the show. How about that?
Humiliation kink. Got it.
Ay. I got a donation.
Where have we gone? What has happened?
I'm watching the viewer count though as this
I
conversation
don't
has
give a fuck
evolved.
anymore. I don't care. Ryan donated to the show.
Yeah.
He donated 1 penny. I don't know. What should we talk about? What would make the people happy? Oh, Josh says he has to pee. I wasn't supposed to do that out loud. My bad. If anyone's into water sports, we're talking about it.
No,
now.
I wasn't gone yet. I wasn't gone just yet. I was about to walk away, and then I heard
I'm so
that.
glad
And I
you
was
heard
like-
that.
and I was like, wait a
I'm
second.
so
You know
glad you heard that.
was
That
private.
makes this so
that
much
was
better.
private.
That makes this so much better.
I was like walking. I was walking over there, and I was like, hold on, I'm coming back. I'm coming. No.
That's why
Not
when I
allowing
say
this.
I'm getting up, I never say gotta pee because I figure when I leave, people will just read it.
This 1 cent charge on my card just looks so out of place.
I know. What? Is there like a $130 charge to Pornhub.com?
No, it's all DraftKings.
Oh, really?
Come on now. Underdog, DraftKings, FanDuel.
What am I
Yeah.
supposed to be talking about? Oh, someone asked a fantasy question. Good.
Ooh.
That'll get us off topic. Redraft.
That's a
1.75 tight end premium. Njoku, Ingram, or Chigakonkwo. In regular, I have Njoku the highest, but kind of go back and forth on that. I would lean toward sticking with that and sticking with Njoku. Maybe I'm higher on Njoku than most. I think most people would have Ingram here.
Yeah, I have Ingram.
it's just
If half of what people believe about Ridley and his what target share he's going to get is true, I don't want Ingram there, and I love Evan Ingram. I think he's revitalized his career since going to Jacksonville. So give me Njoku, Chig if I'm feeling frisky, Ingram if I have to.
Well, you're always feeling frisky, right?
Cats are frisky. I don't like cats.
Uh-oh.
Cats.
You
are
don't
the
have
devil.
cats?
Oh, I hate cats.
Why do you hate cats?
I think that they are stuck-up animals. I don't think they provide any actual value, especially house cats. One of the first lies I told my now wife was that I was allergic to cats.
Wait. Sorry. That's not a good start. Let's just that started with one of the first lies I told my now wife. Well, that's a great start. Continue. That's not good to start with.
So one of the first lies I told my now wife, I think there's an occasional lie, but we're not going to worry about that, was that I was allergic to cats. Why? Because that right there just shut down the conversation of ever having to get a cat.
But when did you come clean and say that you weren't allergic?
still hasn't.
Well, now you have.
Probably about a year or so into marriage.
Oh my God. You kept that up for
About for 3.5, 4 years.
Not gonna lie, I respect the hustle.
that is
a lot of
that's
household.
That's next level.
Why should I have to have a litter box in my bathroom so that a cat can come in and take a shit and hope that it doesn't decide I'm pissed at you, so I'm just gonna pee on the carpet? No, I don't give a fuck. I don't want that in my house.
You're saying you don't like it when people pee on you.
Or his carpet.
Stop shaming people.
Well,
Anyway,
I don't know. Some people are into that. Some people are not. It sounded like it was a good thing. I don't know.
So listen up, cats. I like cats. I personally like cats. I grew up with cats. I enjoy cats.
How do you feel about the Carolina Panthers wide receivers? Talking about some crazy cats.
Nothing. But
I like the
if cats
Bengals
are
wide
big
receivers.
enough-
They're cats too.
I think about 10% of cats, if they were big enough, they would be straight up murderers. There would be a lot more cat murders going around. You know.
Now, I want to say on the show, I'm opposed to murder. I'm opposed.
But
not
cat
in
murder?
favor. Well, I'm opposed to that. I'm opposed. You know, I hear
It's still
that.
getting canceled tonight, isn't it?
Well, I'm opposed to that. Murder is bad. That's my hottest take ever. Murder is very bad. I'm opposed. Charbonnet in 2:24 seconds or Ken Walker?
Wow.
Sorry, what was that noise?
He's in pain. He's in physical pain.
This is worse than cat murder.
What else happened in
asking
the
this
bathroom
question.
while you were there?
It was a pretty smooth experience. I'm not gonna lie. I got some. Wait, got some Pepto Bismol right here. They're pills.
do?
You know? Yeah.
Pills.
Upset stomach.
Oh no! Wait, can you sing the
Actually-
whole jingle?
I just did.
Nausea,
That's not the
heartburn,
whole
indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I was already partway through it, and then we stopped as he held up the actual Pepto Bismol.
Well, guess what? It's actually not Pepto Bismol. It's Safeway brand bismuth.
So it's an imposter.
It's an imposter.
It's an
That
imposter.
doesn't sing the jingle. That
Like
doesn't
Kenneth
sing the
Walker's
jingle.
fantasy value. It's an imposter.
No,
give me
I-
Charbonnet in the free 2 seconds.
It hurts. It hurts saying that, but it might be the right decision.
But it's true.
Oh my god.
I love Charbonnet.
Stop me when I'm telling lies.
I was gonna say it's an imposter like Michael Thomas in the NFL because he never actually plays.
Can we just talk about how Patrick says stop when I say a lie, and you just said he lied about the whole cat thing?
Oh, I don't know. I'll take Ken Walker. I guess. I'm not enthusiastic.
Like the 2 seconds aren't like, oh my god, yeah, 2 seconds. Like
2 seconds.
They're solid. I'll
I'm
take
over
2
Dynasty.
seconds all day. Ken Walker definitely has more value than Charbonnet. I wish we'd seen Charbonnet play at all. No way his
That
role's
would
going to
be
be.
nice.
But
I heard he was busy that day.
He was. I have a lot of trouble with this question.
Well,
I made it go away.
It's very even.
The team that's playing, getting Ken Walker, their second's not going to be worth nearly as much as someone who's like actually contending, because they're they're forcing Kenneth Walker into their starting lineup,
So it's
where
early
he'll
seconds.
be outscored by someone
We're gonna
else.
have to send the Kenneth Walker
James
brigade
Conner.
to your house.
Send them, and then send someone else to replace him in a second.
Okay. No, I told someone to come in and ask for everyone's third grade teacher's name and the last 4 digits of their social security number. So that could happen at some point soon.
Linda Wells.
I don't remember third grade exactly.
I don't remember
First-
yesterday.
First
She was
and fourth gets mixed together.
It was a-
Now,
It was
Ryan,
her
why
first
don't
year- it
you
was her
remember
first year
yesterday?
teacher.
What happened there?
I just don't.
Tell us about yesterday.
I don't know.
Oh, so what happened yesterday?
Nothing. I don't remember it. That's why nothing happened.
Oh,
It's the cycle. You know that
Did you get-
SpongeBob where the guys like going to work repeatedly?
no.
No.
Never seen that?
You
Like
mean
the one where
SpongeBob?
Patrick went to work and
No,
work
no,
really
it's-
consisted of going into his house and eating donuts?
No, I wish.
when they had a kid. Or they,
Yeah,
like,
they had a
that was-
kid.
that was the-
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a random fish that does this. It wasn't SpongeBob or Patrick.
Caleb, did you watch SpongeBob?
Not a lot. No, not growing up. It was like past my time. Like I know not actually,
Yeah.
but I'm a little bit younger, so it felt like Nickelodeon wasn't such a big thing.
How old are you?
I'm 26, so I'm not that. I guess I'm like
You kind of have a
Really?
baby face.
I do.
I feel like there's a
He
lot
was-
of them.
He was still in
Oh,
high school.
Let's
When
see
we were-
what
when we
bad
were
things we
graduating.
could say about Caleb.
Man,
Well,
just kill me out.
Your headphones are kind of big.
Ugh, don't even get me started. I know they're big.
I feel
My
like
head's
mine
also
is
big.
bigger than yours.
I'm messing. And Ryan's.
And Ryan's are even bigger than both of ours.
I got
You know what they say about big headphones?
Yeah, they do. It's like big hands.
Correlation.
Uh-oh.
Big ears.
For those watching on the podcast feed, I wait.
Well, they're not watching on the podcast feed because you can only listen on the podcast feed. So, Caleb, why don't you tell the people a little bit more about yourself? Because I feel like you were very sick the last time you were on the show, so you didn't get a chance to tell the people.
Yeah,
and you're still new-ish.
I'm newish. Yeah, so my name's Caleb. 26 years old. Been playing fantasy football since 2007. Got in.
Me.
It was pretty long. LaDainian Tomlinson was the 101 my first year, which is crazy. Picked up Brett Favre when he unretired and went to the Jets. I thought that was a great waiver wire pickup. Turned out to be absolute shit. What else? Been making YouTube.
I love that's part of your profile. Sorry, I was in 2007. I picked up Brett Favre on the waiver wire, and it didn't work out.
Put it in the bio.
But make YouTube content. Tyler's been gracious enough to pull me into this show, and it's been a blast. So excited to continue grinding with all you guys.
Yeah, I did something nice for once.
Caleb, please don't go grinding with me, please. That's awkward.
I mean, there are worse things.
When I was gone, did you guys answer the what's the best tight end in Scott Fishbowl after the top?
No, I just skipped that one.
Because I was kind of wondering myself. I was wondering how you would answer because I know that Kyle Pitts, I believe, is like the 5th one drafted.
Yeah, but
he's also I feel like I could see someone picking Kyle Pitts over George Kittle, or TJ Hawkinson. You could see it happening. I'm not saying I would do it. And then you could throw in Dallas Goedert into that conversation. I think you could.
Joku is kind of a value. He's going so much later than like Evan Ingram, and I don't see that.
Yeah. What about someone like Pat Freiermuth?
Pat Freiermuth is also a value.
Yeah.
Those would be the two. That
seems like the guy I'll try to be getting at a value. I don't want to overdraft him though at the same time, and I feel like tight ends, I mean, because this Scott Fishbowl, it really helps out the tight ends. If you look at the tight end scoring, like Tyler Higbee was outscoring a lot of wide receivers last year. The majority of them, obviously.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
So just want to put that in perspective.
So you're saying it's not fake news?
Well, I was actually just looking at it today. I mean, we were just talking about Tyler Higbee. I was looking at his scoring because I had my Scott Fishbowl draft. I actually made a draft pick during the show.
Well, who'd you pick?
I don't want to say. I don't love it. Well,
why don't you say? Then I'll make fun
I picked Amari Cooper.
When?
In the 6th round.
That's not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, I feel fine about it.
It's a value according to ADP is 59.5 in the ADP.
I think he's going to have a even better season than last year. I think another year with Deshaun Watson will help his production. And he had a very good year last year. So I just, Amari Cooper is such a name people have been trying to get rid of for so long. And I don't love saying it, but I needed a wide receiver.
Surprised he's still not 24 years old. He was there for a while.
Yeah.
He was the Dynasty darling.
What's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This will be his 9th year in the league. All right. Makes sense. And his best year. And he's going to lead me to a Scott Fishbowl championship. Let's go.
There we go.
Oh, I always love when I win.
Huh?
Wouldn't it be funny if what would happen if I won Scott Fishbowl? How bad would that be?
It'd be freaking horrible. Like,
horrible.
Just deal with you talking about it all the time, and like, we know, Scott Fishbowl 13, you won it. Yeah, that's all you, bro.
But like, seriously, can you imagine?
I was
how obnoxious.
You're trying to manifest this. You're like, picture it. Everyone picture it real fast. It's gonna happen.
I was bad when I topped out the top 4, top 5 for Scott Fishbowl 2 years ago. Like, it got brought up every 15 to 20 minutes on another show. I can't imagine
Tyler's getting excited.
Tyler would change the name of the channel.
Scott the Fishbowl winner.
That's all the channel will be called. Scott
Just-
Fishbowl winner.
Make sure if
I
you're
think
here,
it's-
make sure to like and subscribe to Scott Fishbowl winner at YouTube.
He's gonna add that as a burner account for Twitter.
Oh, can you imagine? I thought of doing a burner account where I criticize myself. I thought that would be funny. Where if I do a burner account, and the burner account would always tweet, "Oh, look at Tyler. He's asking for followers again. Oh, look at Tyler promoting his Patreon." Ugh,
And then you go back on
what a
your normal
loser.
account and like start an argument with yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Be like, shut the
Yeah.
hell up.
Shut the
How-
fuck
how-
up, bitch.
How long would it last?
Oh my god, it would last forever. Can you imagine? That is so something. I
Before
would
people
do.
realize.
Oh, I think people would. There's so many people who do that.
Well, people would realize when you didn't block that account that was just
Yeah.
feeding on you constantly.
That's true.
It has to be
You would-
strategic.
No, you couldn't do quote tweets. You'd have to like take screenshots
Yeah.
of the tweets.
Is fantasy
and post
receipts
them to the-
still out there? I blocked them
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Yeah, they're still out there.
Thank God.
Who cares?
People are pulling receipts on them now, and it's.
Oh, really? I blocked them a long time ago. They're a bunch of losers.
I blocked them day one.
I'm pretty
This isn't gonna go well.
I know who runs
Bye-bye.
that account anyway.
Do you really? I thought it
Oh.
switched hands.
I know. Tell me more about that.
I felt like because they didn't post for like it was like what 4 or 5 months, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden
because
it
they
switched.
faked being sued. Isn't that funny?
But whoever
And-
started redoing it, it was like different wording. Like it wasn't the typical type style. So that's why I thought they like transitioned to someone. So it's a group, I think, a few guys. So I don't know, Tyler. Who do you think it is?
Oh, I mean, it's Jax Falcone. Obviously, everyone knows that.
I mean, Akash said it was him, so like.
Gosh. No, I mean
Remember
it's
people believe
obvious
that
it's
for a
someone
day.
old and washed up who doesn't like that new people are in the industry. That's all. And I really hope he saw that. It's okay. He blocked me on Twitter a long time ago. I blocked him back. I'm not a fan of vetoes, but I just saw a trade of Justin Herbert for Tannehill and
Ooh.
Eckler.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What's on
Take
your
Herbert.
commish?
Easily.
It's on your commish to fix it. I will say
I don't
there was-
I don't like vetoes, but yeah, I wouldn't do that one
feels,
either.
Feels like a league
I
breaker
did-
a little bit.
It just sucks.
I did have a
We
trade
got to be
happen.
on team never veto, right? Even
No,
when
no,
it's
no,
hard.
don't. No, I wouldn't
No.
veto this if it went down
I'm
to my
not
league.
vetoing it,
I
Not
don't
I
know.
wouldn't
but
veto it.
I'm trusting
wouldn't
the,
veto
my
it.
commissioner to do what's right and
Which
to
is?
remove managers. If you're suspecting collusion like this, doing their due
This is such a
diligence.
border. Like,
I can argue on something like this. I can definitely argue on something like this. I'm not worried about collusion on this. I think it's
Yeah.
just not
Yes.
understanding values.
yes, just in general though.
Yeah, so a trade like that where people thought it was collusion. 2 years ago, Geno Smith was doing okay for the Seahawks. Russell Wilson returns from injury, plays 2 games. League mate had no quarterbacks going into a week, and I was tanking, and I offered him Baker Mayfield for a draft pick, and he rejected it, and I made other offers to him to give him a quarterback so he could beat me, and he got really pissed off at me for it.
That's funny.
So he traded away Geno Smith he traded his own 2023 first to another team to get Geno Smith, who was backup quarterback, just to spite me. The trade ended up getting reversed because he admitted that it was bullshit. He was ready to leave the league because he was just mad at me for sending him offers and for telling him he was a piece of shit. Only to, if that trade had stood, I think the Geno Smith side won.
Never
They
veto.
got QB5 for the year. It's just one of those. You never know how trades are going to work out. You may
I know
think
how that one's
you
gonna work out.
understand everything.
It's not gonna be good.
Hopefully the league dues are paid till 2026.
Yep, absolutely.
There's just one situation that stands out in my mind of veto, but it was in a redraft league. I was in college. This was probably 9 years ago at this point, but my college friends were in a league, and we had this one guy in the league, and he was always in people's heads a little bit. But I made a trade. It involved Andrew Luck, me getting Andrew Luck, and it's made my team look just beautiful. I had a bunch of injuries, but my team looked amazing at that point. And it got vetoed. It ended up getting vetoed because this guy was talking to everyone. He's telling everyone to veto it. And if it didn't get vetoed, the guy that traded away Andrew Luck would have made the playoffs. He didn't make the playoffs because of that. And I would not have made the playoffs. And I did. And I ended up winning the league because it got vetoed. It's just like one of those stories.
Saved you from yourself?
Like, it saved me from myself. It screwed the guy that got vetoed. It screwed up the whole entire league. Just one of those situations is crazy.
I tell my league mates that constantly. I'm like, the trades that I offer you and you reject, and you're like, instant reject because you're asking for too much. 8 times out of 10, they are actually end up winning the trade. And 6 weeks later, I'm like, I'm really glad they didn't accept that.
Yeah.
Or my team would be in the dumpster.
There's plenty of trades. I look back because in Sleeper you can look at your chat with. I was like, wow, I sent that trade last year. Like, oh god,
I have a couple of those.
I am really happy that wasn't accepted.
Well, it's better than the take on Twitter that said Christian Watson has more upside than Justin Jefferson.
I have more upside than Justin Jefferson.
That was very interesting. Very with it take that someone had. Again, I hope they're watching. I hope they're watching. I've learned any engagement is better than none. I hope they're watching and they saw that I just called them stupid. I really don't care.
I think they understand what they did.
I think they know exactly what they were doing. No, Romeo. I also don't agree with this though. Romeo Doubs cannot be the wide receiver one. Good on Romeo Doubs. I don't get it.
But Jaden Reed.
He's fighting. Yeah, he's fighting to be a wide receiver 2 on this team.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about Jaden Reed because, Romeo Doubs probably showed more in the NFL than Jaden Reed did in college. I don't think it's a just mortal lock that just because Jaden Reed has more draft capital that he's going to overtake Romeo Doubs. But
I think
rather have
still
Jaden Reed.
Yeah, there's a battle to be had, and I think Romeo Doubs, despite his hype last year and all the positive things and the little bit of positives that we saw on the field early in the season, he is still a Jag.
Romeo Doubs?
Just a guy. Yeah, he's just a guy. He can run routes averagely. He can catch the ball averagely. And when there's mediocre to subpar talent around him on the field, he can gain targets. That's what you want to exploit that when you can, and then sell before people realize it. So
yeah. No, I'm completely with you, and we haven't even mentioned the fact that the quarterback position is changing, right? So a lot's going to fall into the shoulders of Jordan Love, and if he can, I don't want to say take the next step, but just evolve as an above-average NFL starting quarterback, and if he can't, then there's really no chance. Doubs can still be the wide receiver 1 on the Packers, but does that lead to any kind of fantasy relevance?
I think Jordan Love is definitely capable.
I agree.
Even if you take away, there was a stat going around about how he had the highest passer rating of any qualifying quarterback. He just barely met the cutoff.
Yeah, how many passes did he throw? 50 last year?
Yeah, it was something like that where it was just enough for him to qualify. Mm-hmm. And he had a couple huge plays in the fourth quarters where just the game was over. But he can put the ball where it needs to be. He can move in the pocket.
It was a first round pick.
He's going to have some learning curves when he is on the field consistently. And I think what stat lines we have from him against the Chiefs during the COVID season, where he was forced into playing, are going to look like some of his worst games ever, and rightfully so. But he's going to, if he can take care of the ball, not turn it over, Packers offense will be fine. They're not going to be top 10, but they're not going to be bottom 10 either. They're going to be sitting in the middle somewhere. Christian Watson's going to put up some numbers. People are going to be involved. We're going to see some growing pains with that tight end room. and Aaron Jones is going to lead that offense. All right, I'm going to take off my Packers hat now. All right, the Packers are going to be total shit.
There he goes.
Jordan Love he sat on the bench for several seasons because he wasn't good enough to make it on the field. He couldn't earn a spot out there.
Jordan Love.
Well, there was a transition that just happened. You missed a little bit, yeah.
Christian Watson really should be going to church on Sundays and praying to God that he can get more talented.
Oh,
like a real Christian.
Like a real Christian.
Wow. Bold move.
AJ Dillon needs to get. I know he's got a children's book coming up, but he's got to start playing like a man instead of a child. Have you guys seen his Quadzilla book coming out?
Yes. Let me just say this.
If anyone wants to send me that, I would absolutely love that.
So
it's like $19 on Amazon.
David Montgomery over under 9.5. That's a high line. I'll take the under.
That's the thing. I actually brought up last year's stats, and only 8 running backs had 10 or more touchdowns last year. And other than Jamal Williams, they were all like the starting guy for their team. And Jamal Williams, I guess, was the starting guy at the goal line.
Well, he was.
I understand. Yeah, I understand why you're asking this question, but you have to take the under on 9.5 rushing touchdowns for David Montgomery.
We covered the Romeo Doubs news a little bit.
I'm going to take the under on that bet, but I'm also going to bet him to lead the league in rushing touchdowns.
Go for it. Do it. Big move.
Because it'll pay off. It will pay for it if it happens, I guess.
So, I understand Mingo was not a great prospect, but because other players that wore the Ole Miss jersey did well in the NFL, he should be good, right? Notice that since I didn't read the question and said it that way, I think I already gave you my answer.
Yeah. But
this is ridiculous.
He looks like A.J. Brown in that uniform.
Well, it's time for a Tyler diatribe. Because other players wore the same jersey years previously. Of course, totally unrelated players, because Ohio State has had a bad history of quarterbacks 30 years ago to now.
CJ Stroud screwed.
Yeah, CJ Stroud is not going to be good. This is so ridiculous. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. There were so many narratives that certain quarterbacks and from certain schools were not good, and then it was broken, and then, and they were good. A bunch of nonsense.
Hey, speaking of the Panthers,
we don't.
How about Terrace Marshall? How about Terrace Marshall?
Shut
right after Justin
mouth.
Jefferson, Jamar Chase.
Terrace Marshall was on the show sheet, and it says he's allegedly picking up steam.
Oh, jeez.
That's what it says. But I did a short, and I said no, he's not picking up steam. And I agree with myself. I agree with myself. I agree with my opinion that he's not picking up steam. That's what I would say.
How do you even pick up steam?
Well,
it's a gas. You can't do that.
I wrote about it, and I also did a video where I say that there's no gas. I also did a short on Drake London. It's had a lot of views. The Terrace Marshall one's my first short that went over 1K in a while. People seem to like them.
People want to know about Terrace.
Yeah. People are very happy. I noticed something about the shorts. I learned a new trick. You want to hear my trick to making the people watch the shorts? If you're a content creator, make sure to follow these instructions. Exactly. Cut the sentences into like little pieces and then just kind of don't do anything. You don't have to actually edit. But just record like a little sentence and then cut and then there's like a little pause and then a new sentence. And then all of a sudden, boom, more views. That's it. That's my tip. The views like times by 4 since I did that. It actually makes it easier to record because I only have to say one sentence in one take.
Well, maybe that's part of it.
And
maybe
I don't like it. I can say the sentence again.
The sentences you say are just that much better.
Yeah, I doubt it. I don't think so.
It doesn't look like you're reading.
In my shorts, it doesn't look like I'm reading.
When you cut it like that.
It's great because I'm totally reading, but I'm glad it doesn't look like I am.
But when you have like the longer one take shot, and you're reading like,
It's funny because on those I wasn't reading.
it always felt like you were.
No,
Like,
on those I wasn't reading.
Look at the
When I'm
camera,
reading one
B.
sentence at a time, I'm just reading a script. But when I didn't read that much because it's too much. It's too long to be a script. So it's funny that you feel that way because it's actually the exact opposite.
This player was RB this.
You know,
from this week.
But my Tyler video, which was 9 minutes, was pretty popular, and that was scripted. I don't think people know that. Now you do because I told you. But it was scripted. That video is scripted. All the answers were written out ahead of time. Everything's scripted. It was solo, but it's scripted. So I hope you liked it. Views say you did. So I think it came out better being scripted than it did kind of doing what I used to do and doing it kind of naturally. I used to think natural was better because I thought it was more authentic, but I think it comes off better scripted.
There's definitely a middle ground somewhere there.
Prefer surgically enhanced.
Javonte Williams claims that he's healthy. What do we think about the veracity of this alleged claim that he made?
It's reminding me of J.K. Dobbins last year.
Yeah, a little. Low key.
He doesn't know what he doesn't know. Until someone's actually hitting him, he doesn't know what he doesn't know.
J.K. Dobbins was literally yelling at people for saying he wouldn't be there week 1 last year, around this time probably.
Yeah.
Calling out people on Twitter like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm definitely going to be ready. I bought into it.
Yeah. I can't blame you.
Wait until he gets hit on his side as he's trying to make a cut in preseason. Wait until he gets hit one time there, and it doesn't feel right.
But I think we're all kind of saying this. I believe that he believes that. So
J.K. Dobbins believed it too. He thought he was telling
that's
the
what I'm
truth.
saying.
He was just wrong. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
I think he believes that, but he's wrong. I think he's wrong, just like J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying there too.
Yeah. And then last piece of little news that we had over the week: Sky Moore has taken a jump. I don't know if I buy it. I do think it's interesting. I looked at the Dynasty.
He was taking a jump.
Take off.
He had less targets and receptions last year than David Bell, so there's a lot of room to go up.
Yeah.
I actually just wrote an article about the Chiefs. I didn't choose to write about Sky Moore, but I did find that all of the Chiefs wide receivers are values. With Rasheed Rice being the biggest value.
It could be real nice.
Yeah, that's part of it. Is I feel like people have just assumed that no wide receiver other than Tyreek Hill is ever going to hit there, and I think that's not necessarily true either. Just because it hasn't happened in the past doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
I mean, Juju, he had stretches where he was pretty good last year. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone puts it all together throughout the season, or even a good stretch at the end of the season. I mean, it's going to have fantasy value for sure.
Do I think that the Broncos are still in the free agent market? So going back to the Javonte conversation, do I think the Broncos are still in the free agent market with only P. Ryan behind an injured Javonte? I would say as of now, no. But if we get to closer and it's clear Javonte's not going to be ready, then maybe. It is something that's concerning to me. That we
heard false reports, obviously, that Dalvin Cook was signing with them at one point. There were reports that were being made. I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just, I do think the Broncos could sign another running back. Maybe not Dalvin Cook, but
I think Dalvin Cook is out of their price range. But
Leonard Fournette, you are Denver Bronco.
Leonard Fournette or Kareem
I could
Hunt.
see it. I could see it at a good value. I could see it.
Every day that Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, and Kareem Hunt don't sign, I'm getting nervous that we're getting toward career over. I'm getting nervous.
Nah, Zeke's going
that
back
risk
to Dallas.
is rising because it hasn't happened. We're getting close.
I think I'm like extremely confident.
If we get to training camp opening
really cheap,
and they still haven't
at
signed,
the
then I'm
very
going to be
least.
very worried. I will say this. I just want to thank the 7-6 people who are watching this. I know this is Dynasty Trades in 5's live stream of the year. I just want to thank the 6 people who are choosing to watch us instead of them. I love them, but it is tough. I know we compete. We don't really compete. We're not winning that competition. I couldn't even beat him with DLF. When I did SDLF, I couldn't win that competition. I tried. couldn't win. That's why SDLF got canceled. Kinda. One of the reasons. That was definitely up there, is that the show wasn't doing as well because of that.
Aaron Jones only had 2 rushing touchdowns last year.
Kind of strange, yeah. Peyton loves running backs. True, but he also loves using multiple running backs.
Yeah. Well, that goes to DP's point, I think, is like maybe they want to bring in more to have the option for multiple running backs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything about Scott Fishbowl they want to say? We haven't talked about that very much.
I didn't get in.
Yeah, I disagree with that assessment. I think you should have gotten in.
I think
It's
you
weird
still
not
should
being
get in.
actively in. It's weird not being actively in a draft right now.
Yeah,
Like-
it must be.
And I feel bad about saying this now, but I was about to say I just really like being in a draft right now.
No, absolutely, I get it.
Go play basketball, Patrick. Just go scratch the itch.
Ryan,
$5.
my state made a law that does not play underdog.
Wait, Caleb, are you?
You got to move you and your no cats out to another state.
That's a glaring omission.
Riot. We're
Maybe I'll just move
Look,
all my
I'm not
US
exactly
money I made
surprised
for my
that I was-
sponsorship over to DraftKings and just gamble that all away.
I'm not surprised that I was invited to Scott Fishbowl. I do appreciate it. I try my best to share with the SFB13 hashtag on Twitter. You know, I enjoy it. It's, you know, it's never as fun as your first time, but nothing is really. Well, some things are, but depends on the thing. But it's not, the novelty's kind of worn off for me, but that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it. I always want to win. Someone asked me, there was a question in my the Krusty Krab division chat being like, some version of, you know, in this kind of thing, do you use it as a fun draft? You've been in a number of years. And I was like, no, I play to win. Winning is fun. So that was my take on the matter. But it's good. I think it's a good thing for the community. I think it's tough. You know, everyone wants to get in. It's tough when people get left out. I think that kind of.
And overall, I know for the sake of entertainment, it's easier for me to go, oh, I wish I got in, yada, yada, yada. I am perfectly okay and comfortable with not being in. And had a feeling this was coming for the last couple months as invites were coming. And I am okay with that. And I'm glad that there is someone out there who got into Scott Fishbowl this year that didn't know if they were going to, and they got to live that excitement that I had my first time getting into Scott Fishbowl.
That's definitely something
special. That's something special.
That is special, and I've only gotten to feel that one of the 4 years.
Yeah,
when you're at DLF,
you can't replace.
When you're at DLF, you pretty much every DLF writer gets it.
Getting it the first time you receive that email and you like quickly you let a little scream, you're excited. I remember like recording a video right away afterwards because it's exciting. It's a rush.
Yeah, no, I remember. I remember how I felt in 2020.
Something way bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
I thought it meant that I was like imported.
Yeah.
Now I realize it doesn't mean that. But, you know, that's what I thought. 2020 me didn't know. You know, I didn't know that. I didn't really know, well, a lot of things back then. On the clock in the second, looking A-Chain, Miller, and Laporta. Start 2 tight ends. It's Laporta. Start 2 tight ends.
8-man league though.
Start 2 tight ends though. Still.
Yeah, I know. I guess.
Start 2 tight ends is crazy. Even an 8, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm pretty
Laporta's
good.
close to the other two in just a one tight end league. So
I think I'm pretty good on this one. We talked about most of the stuff on the show sheet that I wanted to get to. A lot. We did our SFP discussion. We got to all the news. I think I'm good. Anyone else have anything they want to say?
thank you guys. Thank you guys. I'm grateful for you guys. You guys are good guys. No, that's what I wanted to say.
Us or the audience?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Good answer.
That is a good answer. Very political. I like it. I'm not very political, but I will say that if you made it to the end of the show, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell. That's the best way to support the channel, those things. You can always leave a super chat. Super stickers, super memberships, I usually say, are not worth it. Just sign up for Patreon, which I did put in the chat somewhere. It's here somewhere. I promise you. There it is. The Patreon. Make sure to sign up for that. I'm offering my redraft rankings are posted, and then there's they're tiered, and there's dynasty rankings, positional ranks, the Discord, and then the DM fantasy advice, which is very helpful. It's my favorite thing to do. And then we have solo content on the channel. If you subscribe, you'll get to see that. And then beyond that, if you like what I'm doing and, you are already signed up for the Patreon, or you would just like to donate money, I'll take donations. I do have an offer where you can buy the ranking spreadsheet. That's on my Twitter, but there's also this. If you just want to donate, if you want anything in return or whatever, just donate to the YouTube channel. I take donations here on Venmo for that. And then, I think that's it. I do appreciate everyone who watched. I know there's a lot of choice in content. Just to answer that really quickly, I would say usually after a couple of years, I don't worry about it anymore, especially after an extension. Then I really don't care about drafting.
All the money.
But I do appreciate everyone who spends time watching this show or any of the content. If you're listening on podcast, listening. The last show was the most listened to podcast I've ever done. So I appreciate anyone who prefers podcasts. But I appreciate anyone who takes the time to consume my content. I know there are a lot of choices. I know it's a very saturated market. And I do appreciate that every week people show up at 7:30 p.m. Eastern to watch the show. And I don't take that for granted. I do appreciate everyone who does that and everyone who gives comments and all that, and all of my co-hosts. And I'm looking forward to the season starting up.
8 weeks about.
We have a lot of good stuff coming. Next week, I'm going to do a wrap-up of the Scott Fish Bowl. Hopefully the draft is done by then, but I will do a wrap-up of Scott Fish Bowl draft. And we will also discuss, we did some Dynasty Risers, I think, this week. We'll do the opposite. Dynasty Fallers we'll do next week. Players who we think are going to fall between now and the start of the season. So we'll do that next week. But until then, I will go with Amon-Ra there. But until then, I will see you all next week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, like every week, every Tuesday. And I'll see you guys all later. Peace.
Blue,